Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Marketing that Grows Your Business show. Today, we don't have a special guest. I guess I'm the special guest today. One time a month, I usually do a special training. Today is that day. We're going to be talking about online courses, and we're going to ditch a lot of the preconceived notions of online courses and how you can make money with them. This is something I learned back in October. Somebody shared this model with me, and I was like, oh my gosh, this solves all of the problems that I see in the marketplace, all of the core issues. Like, you're selling one, you have problems selling consistently, right? Selling your course consistently, or you don't have a mechanism for really getting the value proposition that your course demands. That's another issue. There's so many issues, but the real big issue that I see is that most people buy courses and then they don't consume them, which means that we are making no impact with the knowledge that we have. And that is a sad, sad day. So I'm going to be talking about online courses. As you guys are coming in, give me a shout out. Where in the world are you this morning, this evening, this afternoon, whatever time zone you're in? I'm currently in Virginia, going to be here for a while. I can't say that I'm homeless, but I almost kind of am. We have an offer on our house in Tampa, and I think it's probably a done deal. We'll see, until they give you the money, you never know, right? But supposedly it's all sold, and we'll see. So keep us in your prayers on that. We're going to be here in Virginia for the unknown future, taking care of my dad. So good morning, Paul. I'm so glad to see you. For those of you who have been plugging into my shows fairly regularly, you have heard my scenario where my dad's 97 and actually my stepfather, and requires 24/7 care these days. So my sister and I have been splitting time trying to take care of him. Oh my goodness. So Christina is vacationing in Myrtle Beach. Oh my gosh, that sounds so amazing right now. I have to admit, I went out on the front porch this morning, and it was so quiet, sun coming up. It was just so beautiful. So having that peaceful spot just really, really makes a difference, right? So, hey, Liz, glad to see you. But both in Virginia. Yes, it's a beautiful place. So a couple of quick things before we jump into the training. A couple of thoughts that I have on. Let me back up for a second. Doing giveaways. Let me explain the giveaway process. We do giveaways on all of my shows. So today is no different. Today we're going to be giving away 2 Possibility Maker mugs. So if you have a business where you help people make the possibilities come about, then this is going to be so powerful for you. Just get behind that message, like being a possibility maker. If you're sharing knowledge, or you're helping other people create, doing services for others, whatever your business is, just understanding that you are a part of the possibilities for people that you serve is pretty powerful. So how do you win? We have 3 ways that you win. The first one is share your aha moments down under. So an aha moment is like, oh, I didn't know that. I needed to know that. Or I had never thought of it like that. Or I knew that, but I needed to hear it again. So that's what an aha moment is. So use the hashtag aha. That's how we enter you into the wheel of wow, so that at the end of today's show, we'll draw winners for the 2 possibility maker mugs. Okay. Second way you win is to tag someone. So if you know somebody that is wanting a couple of people, like if they have an expertise, they don't yet have a course, but they want one. This is going to be so powerful for them. If they have a course already, but they're not selling it like they would like, or if they would like to sell it for more money, just tag them or sprinkle this out into the world by hitting that S button. Okay, so that's a second way you can win. The third way is ask questions. We love them, and I will try to answer as many questions as possible today. If it comes in after the fact, I will circle back and make sure that your questions get answered. Okay. Also, since I don't like everybody to have to worry about setting around taking notes. If you would like show notes, just drop those in, drop in a notes down below, and we'll make sure that you get those. We usually have those out to you within 24 hours. So just so you know, expect those. And that way you don't have to jot down, take your own notes. Feel free to do so if you want to, but if you don't want to keep track and, what did she say? Then the notes are a great way to get those details sent to you. Okay. So, part of what I'm getting ready to share with you has come about through my own journey. And for those of you who've known me for any length of time, if you don't know me, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Kim Garst. I've owned and built seven-figure businesses in the online space over the past 31 years. I've rolled over the 30 mark now, so it's like crazy. So I've been around a long time, and I've built pretty much every business model out there to at least 6 figures. Again, some of them to 7 figures. And the fascinating thing that I have discovered through this journey is, there's like a constant evolution in business. You have to understand where the marketplace is, and then you have to pivot if it's not serving you or those that you serve. And I think that's really what made me pivot to a new model. And I created this new program called Design to Scale. But I'm only sharing that with you because I want to share how I've came to what I'm getting ready to share with you, and how you can do it more specifically for your business. If it clicks, if it makes sense, if you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that this was a possibility. So that's my end goal here, is to share a process with you, a different model with you, so that you can think outside of the box. So let me pull my screen up here. And again, my journey from pivoting from selling courses that ranged in price. So when I say I had courses at $9.97, I had some courses that were at a $2K price point, $19.97, the traditional model. And I've had, of course, had courses that were at a lower, on the lower end of the spectrum as well. But I've pivoted to selling my knowledge, and this is the important thing that I want you to pick up from this entire training. I'm going to tell you exactly how you do it, is pivoting from selling tickets at like a $9.97 to $2,000 price point, which is the normal model, to selling my knowledge, my courses at $5,000, $7,000, $8,000, even $10,000. And more importantly, I want you to be able to take what I'm teaching and training you to do today, how you can do the same, make an extra 20K or more per month, selling what you know, even if you haven't sold your first course, or even if you don't have a course yet. This is how powerful this model is. So what you're going to learn today is going to help you stop wasting time and money on stuff that doesn't work. So when somebody shared this model with me, I was like, oh my gosh, wow, this just makes so much sense. It clicked in my head. So I'm hoping that it clicks in your head today too, because we're all out there doing all the things. In fact, let me know. I want to hear from you guys. Do you feel like you're out there doing all the things all the time? I'm going to take a minute. I see a lot of people have asked for show notes. Yes, please ask for those show notes if you want them. But seriously, I want to know, get a litmus test. How many of you feel like you're out there like chase on this hamster wheel? You're doing all the things, you're wearing all the hats, you are, you're doing your advertising, you're doing your social media, you're doing your bookkeeping, you're doing all the things, and you feel like that most of your day gets by you and you haven't made any money. right? It happens. I totally understand it. Been there, done that myself. So my hope is that today this clicks. You're like, wow, such a simpler model. Because remember what I said about I've built seven-figure businesses online. I've built a few six-figure businesses, and I've had some duds. I mean, nobody ever tells you about the duds, like, right? We all focus on, like, if I said to you, and I'm here saying, y'all, listen, I am doing something new, and you'd be like, okay, if I focused on all the duds I've built over the years, you'd be like, okay, well, this is probably just another dud. Nobody has success without having some duds. I mean, it's just, you have some business ideas that just don't take off. But again, focusing in on, stopping doing all the things. When I saw this model, I was like, okay, this is the simplest thing I think I've ever seen. And then I went and did it. And I'm like, wow, this is the simplest business model I have ever built. So remember what I said about all the things I have built and all the things that I've done that didn't work? I've never built anything that is as simple as this model that I'm getting ready to share with you. So I say, I'm from the South, so I say, yes, there is a super low tech new system that's helping course creators reach 20K or more per month in as little as 3 weeks or less. I have had some people who already have a course pivot to this model and make money very, very quickly at a way higher ticket price. In fact, I'll share my story about my client, Michelle. She was giving away her knowledge. And she started charging what she was giving away for $6,000 per client. Wow, right? How many of you feel like you're giving away knowledge? Now, giveaway content is good. I'm not knocking all the giveaways and giving value to your audience, but she was literally getting on the phone and spending time with her prospective clients, giving away, pouring into them without charging for it. And she went from that model to charging 6K per client. Total different animal, right? And how I've gone from charging that $997 to 5K plus for my online courses. You may be thinking to yourself, okay, well, sounds pretty good, but how do I do this? So let's break it down for you. This is doable even if you're not a tech genius. So many of us get hung up on the tech pieces. You don't have to be an expert on all the things. So you don't have to, be an expert at blogging or podcasting or social media or the latest and greatest, Instagram reels or, TikTok. Do I need to be on TikTok? You don't have to be an expert on all the things. You don't even have to hire experts for all the moving pieces and parts because you don't need to. It's a simple model. And you don't need a long sales page, which by virtue of saying the long sales page means you have to be a copywriter to write the long sales page, right? Or you have to hire somebody to do it. Don't need it. You can just X that off of your checklist. Don't need it. You don't have to have a 2-hour webinar. You don't have to do product launches. Product launches are one of those things that I believe are broke right now in the online course space, because what happens is you do this product launch, you sell into your community, you kind of scrape the cream off the top. People that want what you are offering, buy it, and then you pour all this work into it. You make some money. But that's great in that moment. But what happens the next time you do a product launch? The majority of the people who wanted to buy your thing have already bought it, and your sales go down time over time, and you're still doing the same amount of work for less dollars. So it's broke. We need a better way of doing things. And then again, giving away all your knowledge for free. Complex funnels, don't need it. Posting on social media. In fact, many of you guys you may know me for social media, but I have stepped back. I am not doing all the things on social media anymore because it wasn't what was really driving revenue in my business. Starting a podcast. If you have one, great. But if you don't have one, guess what? You don't have to. Guest blogging, SEO. Well, if you're not an SEO expert, good news is, hey, maybe you don't have to do that. Growing an audience. I mean, we all need a community to sell into, but what if you didn't necessarily have to have that? Like you're brand new and you don't have a bunch of people already on your social media presences that are saying, I need to know more about you, or I need to be connected to you, or your list is super small. What if you don't have that? Well, guess what? You don't necessarily have to have it. And you don't have to attend all those networking events to find your person. So what you're going to learn today is the one thing that separates your ability to charge $10K versus $500. So again, traditional models, most people are selling their courses for $297, $497, $997, $1997. Wouldn't it be nice if you could take that same course and charge $10K for it, $5K for it? I mean, whoa, right? Huge difference. How you can get people who don't know you from a bar of soap, meaning they have no like and trust factor with you, to buy from you in a matter of days, maybe even a matter of hours. Let me go back to that one. There we go. And how to stop with tech overwhelm and replace it with a simple, short, 8 to 10 minute education video. So, don't have to stress over a webinar. You don't have to figure out all the moving pieces for a sales funnel. Throw all that out the door and focus on one core way to attract your person to you. And why slow and steady means your business is dying a slow death. So I'm going to be really honest here. If your business is not growing exponentially year over year, if it's losing money, then you don't have the right business model. I'm just going to say it just straight up, because if you're thinking slow and steady is going to win the day, it usually doesn't. And that's one of the reasons that I'm so passionate about this model. I think it's a game changer for literally anyone. And then how to make that 20K plus within the next 3 weeks, even if you are starting from scratch. So these are big promises. I'm going to deliver on them. Okay. So again, my goal for this training is to help you think differently about how you package, message, and sell what you know. Okay. Set aside everything that you think you know about selling courses online, because there's all the traditional models out there that, again, I believe to be broken. And I'm going to try to prove that to you throughout today's course, okay, or training. This new system works for course creators who struggle to make 10K a month. So if you are a course creator and you are not selling your courses for 10K or more a month consistently, in other words, meaning you're not relying on product launches. Most people don't do product launches every month, right? So that means that you're making a little bit of money, or maybe you make 10, 20K when you do your course launch, but then you have to live off of that money, pay your team, or expenses, whatever your situation is between those times. This is for people who are trying to market their course but not selling it consistently to the tune of 10K a month. If that's you, then this is for you. Coaches and consultants who are tired of trading time for money. So if you are a service provider, or you are a coach who is, again, I saw this image the other day. It was a booked calendar for somebody who was doing all these 1 hour phone calls, one-on-one calls. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so, I love helping people, but if you get up every day and you've got 8 calls on your calendar, you've got a full day and you're drained by the end of the day. And there's no time for life. You can even go to the bathroom in between the calls because they run over. If you're a coach, you know what I'm talking about. You totally get that. Service providers that are paid on a project-based basis and are consistently chasing the next client. If you are always in that mode of, oh my gosh, where is my next client coming from? Or you don't have a system for the next client, then you are in the right place. new business owners who want to replace their 9 to 5, or it's anybody who has an expertise that they haven't figured out how to package, message, and sell it consistently. Okay. So I'm on a mission to help people build a profitable business model that gives them a real life. Because even with, we talked about this a moment ago, all the things that we're out there trying to do, it's crazy. It's crazy. I have been there. I used to get up every morning at between 4:30 and 5 and thinking I was, multitasking, taking too much information here, taking my bath, sitting there with my phone in my hand, answering and responding to people who had retweeted me. Hours and hours I spent, in the social space, or, trying to do all the things, wearing all the hats. I know how crazy that can be. That model does not provide what we really want when we start our business. We want time freedom, we want financial freedom. And yet, in many cases, because we choose the wrong business model, we end up with neither of those things. So modern technology is literally at our fingertips, and yet many still don't have a business model that gives them that time and financial freedom. There's so many options for us today, and I think we kind of get sidelined by them because there are so many options instead of keeping it simple. And that's really what I want to share with you today, a simpler way of sharing and selling what you know for a much higher ticket price. So this is what I'm going to call the new balance. Working 2 to 4 hours a day on tasks that make a meaningful impact on other people. Does that sound like, put your hand up, does that sound like I want that? If I can only work 2 to 4 hours a day, what would that look like? Think about that just for a second. 2 to 4 hours a day on tasks that make a meaningful impact on other people. Wow. When I say meaningful impact, what I said before about, the majority of people don't go through our courses, even if they buy them. Ouch, right? Which means you're really not making the impact that you want. And that's a sad thing. Taking time off whenever you want to, wouldn't that kind of be nice? Like if you just decided, hey, I'm just going to get in my car, or I'm just going to get on a flight and go to New York and catch a show, or, whatever. Like my friend Molly took her little guy last week. It was a 24-hour, I think it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. She took her son to New York to a show, and it was a 24-hour turnaround. Like they got on a red eye, they went there, they spent the day, they did the show, and then they came back. She had the financial wherewithal to do that because she is selling her knowledge at a higher ticket price. And taking time off whenever you want sounds pretty appealing, right? Getting paid extremely well for the value that you share, not the number of hours you work. So think about that. So I heard this story, and I'm probably butchering it, but it was this company. It was a manufacturing company, and one of their machines broke down. They called the repair person to come in and fix it. He took one look at it, and he adjusted something on the machine, and sent the guy a bill for $5,000. And the guy's like, "What do you mean? All you did was turn this wrench and you fixed it." And he said, "I'm not charging you for the fact that I was here for 5 minutes and I fixed your machine. I'm charging you for all the hours it took me to figure out exactly which wrench or which thing it was that I needed to turn in order to make your machine work." So that's the problem that we are all facing when it comes to our knowledge. We are devaluing it out the gate by putting a $297 price point on it, or a $597 or $997, whatever the price point is. You're devaluing what you know right out the gate, and you're really not making an impact with your knowledge. Okay? So it's time to throw the need more money, work more hours model out of the door. And you have to wrap your head around this because it is a mindset shift. So why isn't now the time to sell higher ticket courses? And this is extremely important to understand. Traditionally, we've been selling courses out there for different price points, all the different models. Some are low ticket, some are mid range, some, again, some would consider high ticket courses to be, $9.97. But this is the reality. The money math is getting harder and harder to make it work when it comes to selling our courses. Now, I'm not going to dig into that too awful much, but I'll just give you a quick example. A lot of people are selling their courses through automated webinars. And now that advertising is getting tighter and tighter, it's getting harder. The customer acquisition cost is getting higher and higher, which means it's eating into more and more of the profits for course creators. But really, in my way of thinking, that's not as important as why I decided to go after this model, which is I spend a lot of time creating my content. Like I've created over 200 courses in the 30 plus years that I've been online. And one of the things that is so disheartening to me is to look at the video views and realize that nobody's going through my content. I'm pouring my heart and soul into this stuff and nobody is getting the transformation. And a few people are, but most aren't, which is why I am so passionate about this. I want to flip that dynamic. And I think now is the time because I believe I'm not the only one as a course creator. I feel like that the buyers have also figured this out. So I'm going to just do a quick litmus test. How many of you have purchased a course, maybe even spent $2,000 for it and not gone through it? Raise your hand. I have. I've done it. I'll own it. I have been that person. So I think the buyers have figured out that knowledge alone is not going to get them where they want to go anymore. And they want connection. They want a higher level of support. And I think that is why now is so, so important. So let's take a look. I always look at when I'm teaching people how to make money, what are your financial goals? Because if you don't have a goal, it's very hard to match up a model to that goal. So hopefully that what I just said will make sense in just a second. When we are trying to figure out what our financial goals are, usually it is having enough to cover basic living expenses. Now, some are not necessarily in that boat where they're solely responsible around covering the basic living expenses. So if you have a significant other, maybe they have a revenue stream that covers your basic living expenses. But if you are the person that needs to make money to cover your living expenses, you have to calculate that in. You have to say to yourself, well, Sue, Tom, whatever, I've got to make sure that I have enough to cover my personal living expenses as well as my business expenses. If you have a business where you are not paying yourself, you do not have a business. Okay? Now, this is the sad truth. I pulled this stat off that it's a current stat. 63% of Americans don't have enough savings to cover a $500 emergency. So that goes back to you've got to have a goal that is going to cover your living expenses. It's also going to give you emergency money if you need it on a personal level. And then there's the overwhelm of not being there, right? And the stress of the constant struggle. It's because you don't have the right vehicle. Okay? You have not matched up your financial goal with the right business model to support what you need to make in your personal life, much less your business. Okay. So financial goal number 2 is if I could make enough money to cover my business expenses and I could do the things I want in my life. Like if I wanted to just get on a plane and go somewhere and I didn't have to worry about, spending like 2 weeks searching for all the best deals. If I could just hey, I'm going tomorrow. I know it's going to cost me, $500 more on that flight, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to get on that plane. And if you could do that without stressing and struggling, what would that look like? Right? So think about it. What do you want from life? Is it the home? Is it, is it the travel? Is it the boat? Is it, hey, I want to be able to go to the next business conference without worrying about how I'm going to pay for it. everybody's lifestyle and needs are totally different, right? Everybody wants something different. Maybe they want to send their kids to a private school. Maybe they want to be able to take their kids to New York and, to a show. Whatever it is you want, whatever lifestyle that is, for most people, a I'll say average run rate to do all the things, pay for your monthly expenses on a personal side, and to be able to have a lifestyle that you want is roughly 20K. Now it may be 10 for some. It varies, but on the high end, I would say 20K a month is usually enough to finance a dream lifestyle. Okay, and there's a method to my madness when I'm sharing this. If you had 20K a month and could do all the things with a simple business model, what would that look like, right? You need the right vehicle to get you there. And I went through all of this to make a point, is if you're not there and you have been in business for a while, maybe you have a course, whatever your thing is, then you do not have the right vehicle. And you need to honestly take a look at your business and say, okay, I hear what she's saying. How do I shift that dynamic? So I'm going to share a model with you that I think is simple, it's non-techy, and it's easy for anyone to do. Okay? So again, going back to that financial goal, how many sales do I need to make in order to hit my income goal? If you know that you could have a dream lifestyle with 20K a month, how are you going to reach that income goal? So, old course model. Goal is 20K a month. We're going to stick with this 20K a month because that's going to get you your dream lifestyle. Your course price may be $500. I rounded it up. Maybe it's $497. You could do the math on this, whatever your price point is. But you need about 40 sales in a month to sell at $500 to get to a $20,000 run rate, okay? Which means you have to look at the math. You have to make sure the math works. You can't just go into your business with, well, I call it a hope and a prayer, meaning, I hope somebody buys my stuff, or, maybe somebody will bump into it, whatever. You have to have a consistent plan for this. So if you want 40 sales, and let's go with kind of industry standard, on the high end, I'm being generous, is 2,000. Is a 2% conversion rate. Average conversion is usually 1 to 2%. That means you have to get your offer in front of 2,000 of the right people. Okay, is that making sense to you? So if you want to make $20,000 and you have a $500 course, you need 40 people to say yes to it. That means you have to put your offer in front of 2,000 of the right people. That sounds hard, doesn't it? Sounds like, and maybe that's where you are. And maybe you're not getting your offer in front of 2,000 of the right people, which is why your sales are not where they need to be. Or maybe you have a less, a lower conversion rate. Whatever the situation is, that sounds difficult, right? So let's take a look at the alternative, the high ticket course. Again, you have a 20K goal. You have a $5,000 price point on it, and you only need 4 sales, not 40. 4 sales. 4 sales, and again, that 2% conversion rate. That means you have to put your offer in front of 200 of the right people. How many are saying that sounds so much more doable? 4 sales. That's it. 4 sales to get to 20K a month. So I've discovered a super simple system for taking my course sales to 20 to 50K per month in just a few weeks. And I started doing this in October. And I have been blown away around how quickly I was able to turn this, because it's really about taking what you've traditionally thought of, flipping that dynamic, and repositioning it, remessaging it, and repricing it, and coming alongside your students. So I'm going to explain this in a lot more detail, but I want to plant the seed of this is a super simple system and you can do it. So you may be thinking to yourself right now, okay, so I hear you, but what's the best way to sell information for $5,000, Kim? That sounds so ridiculous. No, trust me, it's not. I'm going to show you how you can do it. Okay, if I can buy into that, like who pays that? And where do I find them? And what can you do to automate 90 to 95% of the work? Like I get these questions quite frequently. Those are, again, if you're thinking about this through traditional courses, you're like, yeah, 5K, that sounds so ridiculous. Okay, well, who's going to buy it? Where do I find them? And then, can I automate this process? Yes, you can. All right. Reality number one. Again, I told you at the beginning, I want you to throw out your traditional preconceived notions around course sales. You can directly sell to high ticket buyers willing to spend 3K, 5K, or 10K a day on day one with the right offer. Okay. Most business owners never figure out high ticket sales because they think that their buyer will not spend the money with them. That's why they're devaluing their courses all the time. They're devaluing their knowledge. So traditional Ascension model, ladder, value ladder, whatever word you want to use. And I've taught this model myself. So I totally own that I have been a part of the process or the problem in this context. So because I just discovered this high ticket course model myself in October. So I'm like, okay, traditionally I've done the freebie to a low ticket offer, something that's $1. Mine usually started at $7 to $50. Flagship course, something that is, you call that flagship or signature course. There's different words for it. That could be 500 to 2K. Coaching, 1K and up per month. Masterminds can run anywhere from 12 to, mine's currently at 36K for the year, not the month. But some masterminds are literally 12K or more a month, depending on, again, what the transformation they're affecting for their person. Done for you services could be 25K and up. Those are usually the traditional model that so many teach us to build. But here's the problem. The basic premise is that a percentage of people will ascend up to your higher ticket offers, right? Now, this is where, and traditionally, that takes time and effort, right? But this almost never works for course creators or people ultimately that are going to sell higher ticket things. So let's break this down. There are two types of people. There are people with more time than money. Now, and if you think about this, I'm going to explain it, and then I want you to think about it. And I want you to think about this through your lens. Which one of these are you? Okay. Sometimes we have to look at ourselves honestly in order to pivot, to make an adjustment in our mindset and in our business. And when you make those pivots, they can be transformational if you are not thinking about your business in the right lane. Okay. So I'm going to explain it, but I want you to think about this in your context. People with more time than money. Okay. So that's people that are, hang on, let me explain the two types and then I'll break it down for you. People with more money than time. Okay, so people that have more money are more advanced. They do not want to figure it out on their own. They do not want to do the work themselves. Their results over cost. They pay the expert to help them get there fast. This is definitely me, meaning I am the type of person that I figured out after spending a lot of time in the early days of my business, thinking in my head that I couldn't afford to invest in myself. And so I would spend all this time like struggling and trying to figure it out. When I realized that if I just went right to the source, somebody who'd already been there, done it, and paid them, I could get the results way faster. So this was a mindset shift for me. I had to figure this out. So the person that is has more time than money is more of a beginner. They don't they don't download they download all the freebies. They buy the low ticket stuff. They try to figure it out on their own, because they have, I would say, I'll just speak from my own perspective. And again, be honest with yourself. What is your mind block here? Sometimes you feel like you just don't have the money to do it. Sometimes you don't have the money to invest in yourself. But I had to get there myself. For me, it was, I would say, a lack mindset in the from a construct of, thinking, well, if I spend that money, that seems like a lot, and what if I don't make it back? Instead of just saying, I'm going to invest in that, and I'm going to get that result faster because I'm going to get the know-how quicker. So I want you to think about that, because I rarely download freebies these days. I rarely purchase low ticket offers. It really has to grab my attention. If I want to know something, I go straight to the person that has the knowledge. That's why I'm in 2 masterminds right now. One I paid 50K for, another is like 25, 30. I want to know the things. So I spend the money, but not everybody may not yet be there. But in the context of you understanding whether you're that person, whether you have more time than money or more money than time, which are you, because that's important to understand. But in the construct of what we're talking about today, you are not looking for the people who have more time than money. You're looking for people who have more money than time. Okay? So if your people that you have amassed and you've been trying to serve are freebie seekers, or they are low ticket buyers, then you have to shift who you're trying to attract. Because the Ascension model disqualifies buyers with money. Wow, right? If you think about that, if you can't get people into your model with a freebie, you're never going to get them to say yes to something higher ticket. And by virtue of that same dynamic, if they're a freebie seeker or they're a low ticket person, you're going to struggle to get them to spend thousands of dollars with you. It's it does make sense, right? So to get to higher ticket sales, you have to target higher ticket buyers. You have to target people with more money than time, not more time than money. So high ticket offers increase your cash flow. So you make more money right out the gate. So going back to the, 40 buyers versus 4, 4 buyers will get you to a 20K month with a high ticket offer. You have more money after expenses, even if you have to pay for your person. So let me tell you, this is such a fascinating dynamic when it comes to high ticket offers. If you could pay $600 to $1,200, because that's industry standard. So when I say pay, meaning Facebook ads or YouTube ads or LinkedIn ads. If you could advertise and you had to pay $600 to $1,200, because that's industry standard for a $5,000 sale, would you do that? Would you pay $1,200 to get a $5,000 sale? So even if you did that, you said, okay, my customer is spending $5,000 with me is, I had to pay $12,000 to get them, but I still have a lot of money left over. I have a lot of profit. So even after paying for that customer acquisition, you still have money in your pocket. It gives you more dollars to advertise, so you can have more sales and you can get serious growth fast instead of staying in a stagnant or quasi same level in your business. And that could be at a place where you're not making as much money as you need to, or you're not making any money. Ouch. Okay. So reality number 2, you can sell a $500 course for $5,000, $7,000, and yes, even $10,000 by choosing to do one thing a little differently. Okay. Most of you are probably like, brakes on right now. You're like going back to, I said it before, like, yeah, no, Kim, nobody's going to pay $5,000 for my course? Like, seriously? I want you to think of, and this is the biggest misconception that I see across the board, is most people, if you are that person and you're thinking to yourself, what, is she lost her marbles? Like, I can't imagine somebody paying $5,000 for my $500 course. Lean in. I want you to hear this, okay? If Walmart is looking at this piece of land for their next expansion, they're going to put a huge Walmart on this piece of land. They're not looking at this piece of land from the value that it has right now, meaning, wow, it's got some hay on it. I could sell the hay. I can make me a little bit of money. Oh, I see, it's got some trees. I could maybe still, have those cut down and turned into lumber. They don't look at it like that. They're looking at the value proposition from the perspective of turning that nice green lot farmland into this. And how much money are they going to make by turning that farmland into this? So you have got to stop thinking about your value through the lens of time, money, and look at it through the value proposition that you bring to your person. So, same work, different value. Nutrition advice for healthy young adults versus 50 plus diabetics, right? People that are over 50, they're diabetic. The nutrition advice you would give them, they may not see the value in it. But if you're providing nutrition advice that are specific to people that are in their 50s and they're diabetic, the value to them, way higher, right? Or maybe marriage counseling for employees versus CEOs. So now marriage counseling, I would argue, is value-based for everybody, but to a CEO who is overworked, who's stressing out, who's ultimately understands that his marriage is suffering or her marriage is suffering or a relationship is suffering because of the role that they are in, they are way more likely to be invested in finding a solution to that problem. Or dating coaching for teens versus midlifers. Different dynamics, different positioning, same work, same knowledge, different value to different people. And that's what you have to understand. The value of what you know is not worth the same dollar amount to every person. You're not trying to sell a high ticket thing to somebody who's looking for a freebie. That's not going to work. And if you've been trying to do that, that's probably why you've not gotten the sales that you would like to have every month. If you don't value what you know, neither will anyone else. So you have to flip the dynamic on your mindset, because what you know is valuable. You have to sell it to the person who values it. Okay? So there's 3 levels of service when it comes to business models. So there's the traditional DIY, which is the current kind of course model, which I've started to call it the figure it out yourself model. So you put a course together, you sell it, and it's kind of like, here's your login, go figure it out yourself, right? And then there's the done with you model. And then there's which is kind of a combination of, hey, I'm going to come alongside you and help you get the outcome that you said you wanted. And then there's the done for you, which is you're just doing it for them. Okay. So an example, let's say you're a graphic designer. If it's a do it yourself, it's a low ticket price graphic design course, they go figure it out themselves. Some may go through the content, most won't. So the impact for that is very low. Done with you is more dollars, but it's a course with a weekly group coaching calls or Q&A calls, whichever. And then the done for you is traditionally more dollars, but you do all the work for them. Now I said this before, but I'm going to circle back to it because I see this most frequently for a lot, where they basically are creating the recipe for making no money in their business. When I talked about, having the right vehicle, the right business model to get you to the right financial goal that you have for your business, Most have the wrong recipe. They create a great course. I would even say it's a high ticket offer. They position it like a low ticket offer because they don't think anybody will buy it. And when somebody doesn't buy it because they haven't positioned it at a value prop as a value proposition, they lower the price again. Have you done it? And they sell it at a low ticket price. So they have this amazing high ticket offer, but they sell it for a little bit of money and no profit really, which is ultimate, or they can sell it because people are like, well, people value what they pay for. I mean, can this really be valuable if they're selling it for $200, $300, $500? Sounds good, but I don't believe it. Or, in some cases, some people are like, well, it sounds like great knowledge, but I've bought on these courses before and they never give me the result. Ouch, right? So I want to share a better way. I call it the no-brainer expert offer because really it comes down to our expertise. You have to stand on it. You have to own it. You have to be proud of it. You have to create an offer that showcases your expertise. And then you have to come alongside the people that you want to serve with the right model, the right offer that gives them that transformation. So it's one offer and it's got 3 pieces. It's a course, a curriculum. It's a coaching component. You have one weekly Q&A call. You have a community that goes along a side of it. The 2 real value propositions here, newsflash, it's not the curriculum. You can get knowledge literally anywhere. I'm not saying your knowledge is not valuable because people that's what they buy. But the coaching and the community is where the difference in the price is. And it's why people will pay you $5,000 versus $500. So this is what I call stacking the odds in your favor. You just nail one marketing message. You have to come up with a value-based transformational statement that you use everywhere to get people to say yes to your offer. You never have to worry about your next offer because your messaging will be succinct in all places. You become a true authority in your area of expertise. You become known for the thing, whatever it is. If you are doing Facebook ads, you have a system for that. You've nailed it. You do it for others. That's a process that you can teach other people how to do the same thing. If you are a graphic designer, same thing. If you are a health coach, exactly the same thing. When somebody says, hey, I have diabetes or I'm overweight and I've done all the things, I've tried all the things and I just can't figure it out on my own. Who comes to mind for that? You want to come to mind for that if you're a health coach. You want to be the name that everybody says because you're getting results and you are consistently messaging that in all the places. So you become known for that. You become a true authority in your area of expertise. So think about this for a second. And this has been one of my biggest problems probably in my business models over the years, is trying to do all the things, and I'm just here to tell you that the thing that is most difficult is trying to do all the things from experience. It's almost impossible. So which is more difficult? Selling the one thing, 2 things, all the things? All the things is more difficult. What's the easiest way to do it? Selling the one thing. Selling the one thing. So Design to Scale, which is my new program, is designed to take courses. And whether, again, I'm not here to push Design to Scale, but I'm here to share a process, a new model with you. It's designed to help you take courses from 0 to 20 to 50K a month with one simple marketing process that doesn't involve social media. Just saying. Right? This is the system. It's an opt-in page where you send people. So and there's a mini webinar on that opt-in page. It's an educational video that kind of warms up your person. It makes them say, wow, I need this. I need this knowledge. They go through an application process. They book a call. They go to a calendar that they book a call to talk to you and then they get on the phone with you. It's that simple. So the offer, the transformation that you're sharing with the person in your educational video does the selling for you. Think about it. Would you be willing to talk to someone that needs your solution for 20 to 30 minutes to get paid $5,000, $10,000, or even more? Would you be willing to do that? I'm just saying, what is so much easier about that process than probably what you're doing right now? You just need one system, one message, one offer, and one person to say yes. So you can sell $5,000 to $10,000 courses. You can make sales this week with a simple pivot. You can start to earn $50,000+ a month. But let's get to 20 first, because that gets you a dream lifestyle. You can impact more people. You can have time and financial freedom. Finally, right? It's possible to build a thriving business with your knowledge and expertise without undergoing a lengthy and painful process, and without trying to do all the things that I would potentially say are broke that a lot of people are trying to teach and do these days. So you have an option here. One, take everything I've told you and run with it. Go out and say, I got this. I get it. It clicked, Kim. I am going to run with this. Or, I can help you speed up the process through, because I figured this out. I have nailed it. I'm teaching other people how to do it. And if you would just let this, this whole training has not been about trying to sell you something. That is not my intention at all. Never is when I'm in training mode. But if you would like to discover more about the process, like, is this perfect for me? And I'm going to give you a couple of examples first. You are maybe a coach, a consultant, or a service provider who has a high ticket program of some sort, but you need more leads. You feel like you're always chasing the next person. If that's you, then let's have a chat, okay? You have an existing business that you want to launch a new idea or a new revenue stream, or you just like to make money for a change. Or you have a low ticket course and you want to leverage it into a simple high ticket course funnel to double, triple, or even 5x your prices. Or you're brand new and you want to leverage your expertise into a legitimate income stream. Turn that knowledge into a high ticket course. If any of these sound like you, but if you're not sure, like seriously, if you're not sure, this is my offer to you is not a sales call. I'm going to be totally frank with you, but I would love to have just a quick 15-minute chat just to see if a high ticket course is for you. If you would like to just have a conversation and not make it about, hey, I'm trying to sell you anything. That's not the purpose of this. If you have been intrigued and you're like, would this be for me? Would it make sense for me? Then just go to kimgarst.com/power call. 15 minutes. We'll keep to that timeline. There's no obligation. I'm not trying to sell you anything. But if that's you and you are like, wow, this sounds good, but does it make sense for me? Let's talk and see if it would be a good fit for you. All right. So that is today's training. I hope that I got through to a couple of people or more, and that you are like, this makes so much sense. I need to do this versus what I'm doing. Again, if you're not sure, book a power call. If you are like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go do this, go do it. I can't wait to see what you do with it, because it's a very simple process. It is a difference. It's a different way of thinking about selling what you know, but you can so do this. All right. All right. Well, I was kind of seeing if there was any quick questions but I didn't see. I was trying to keep my eyes open as we were going to see if there were questions, but I didn't really see any real questions. So, but if you think of something, feel free to come back, send me a message on Facebook or Instagram. If you think of a question later and you're like, I'm not sure about this, that, or the other thing. Just send me a quick message. I'll be happy to answer. Okay. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. Stay safe and God bless. I'll see you next week. Next week, our special guest is I met Bridget Brady at an event that we were both speaking at. I invited her on the show. You guys are going to be so blessed. So don't miss out next week. We'll see you same time, same place. And we have a very special guest. Talk to you soon. Again, take care. God bless.